Hi, everybody. I am Shelly B, a conservative Black sister surviving in a hot mess world. And tonight's hot mess is, are hardcore UK policies on censorship on its way to America soon? I mean, they are locking up people for memes there and posts that they make on social media. And usually, a lot of the tyrannical policies that we see here in the States originate in Europe. But before we talk about this, it's a lot to unpack, so this is probably going to be a long one. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I will greatly appreciate it. This means I love you in sign language, and I do if you support this channel. I do even if you don't support this channel, but I would just love you twice as much if you do. Okay, so I just happened to come across this video today about the censorship that's been occurring in Europe. And free speech has also been a huge issue in this country as well. But over there, they're just ahead of us in, in the penalties for, what you post and what you say and stuff. You can get locked up over there if you post something that somebody finds offensive. It's very vague. That anybody can just say, oh, you offended me, or oh, you told a lie, or whatever, and then they could charge you and arrest you and everything. And I just find it crazy that even if somebody was wrong, or maybe, like, I'll tell you later about a journalist over there named Tommy Robinson, and he was jailed because he's a journalist, and he presented a story that they didn't agree with, and they told him to stop trying to say this, and he was locked up. It's just like the journalist here, Owen Schroyer, that was on InfoWars. He's no longer on InfoWars. I feel like maybe him and Alex Jones fell out. I don't really know that story, but anyway, he was locked up too for saying that the election that Trump lost was staged. And they told him to stop saying that, and he wouldn't stop saying it, and they locked him up. I think he went to jail for like 2 or 3 months or something. And I think they had to keep him in solitary or something like that. It was crazy. So it is happening here. So I want you to watch this video. We have a lot of stuff to unpack here because, everybody talks about free speech. And I think you should be able to say whatever the hell you want. You know what I mean? And a lot of times journalists, say things that are right. Just look at COVID and all the misinformation that they said people were saying, and people were getting blocked and censored. I was one that was deplatformed on Instagram. I've been deplatformed on TikTok twice, so I've just literally given up on TikTok. Just for saying things about the vaccine. That's why I'm always censored, is because of the things I say about the vaccines not being safe. And you could post all the facts and receipts in the world, and they'll still, take you off for whatever reason. Another time I was banned because I said that, I had posted something about Kamala Harris being faking, some receipts on her or whatever. So, I feel like a lot of the reason why these governments are starting to become more tyrannical with the social media sites is because they're very effective in changing the whole entire narrative. If it wasn't for social media, I don't think that we would ever get a Republican president and people would be aware of really what is going on in the world. Because, we just had that Google and Facebook and other social media said that the government forced them to censor the people. So really, we're not that far behind, Europe, if at all. We are right with them, because like I said, they lock up journalists here. They slander journalists here, doctors, scientists, and all kinds of people have lost their livelihoods and everything for trying to say the truth about pharma and the COVID shots. So let's just watch this video because this is the issue. And I feel like everyone should care about this. Everyone should care about this because it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And once it's gone forever. I'm the sci-fi girl, and I'm telling you, once it's gone forever. Once you give up your rights, you're never getting it back. You're never getting it back, and you can fight as much as you want to fight. You're never getting it back. You're never getting it back. All right, so let's listen to this. Sorry, guys.
These comments from Elon Musk. He addressed the crowd via video link. Have a listen.
Violence is going to come to you. You will have no choice. You're in a fundamental situation here where
so just a little backstory here. Elon Musk spoke via somehow via social media or satellite or whatever to this huge protest group in UK called Advance UK, and it's headed by Tommy Robinson, which is the journalist I told you about that got locked up because you know, a story that he was saying about a Syrian refugee. They tried to say that it wasn't true, and he kept saying that it was, and he kept talking about it, and he made documentaries and they locked him up. So I'll tell you more about that later, but here's a little bit of what's going on so you can have a little bit of idea of what's going on in Europe. This is the biggest protest that they have ever had in Europe. It's like 150,000 people or something showed up to this protest. Like, the people are over it. The reason why they're protesting is because of the Islam culture that's taken over the nation, and free speech is the main things that they're, fighting for.
Where whether you choose violence or not, violence is coming to you. You either fight back or you die.
That's the guy, Tommy Robinson, the journalist that they locked up. Now, this is what, and this is the thing a lot of people don't understand, that every nation has a left and a right. Okay, the left is always liberalism, globalism, right? If you don't know what globalism, look it up. But it's basically a group of elite people that want to rule the world, control all the world's resources. That's why they don't care about borders, because they want to destabilize every nation so they can take control of it and rebuild everything. The Great Reset. Whereas right, they more stand for being nationalists, keeping their culture and their continuity of their nation, being sovereign, and immigrants that come there, they want them to, love the country and conform. And their thing is they're saying that they don't feel the Islamists like them. They don't like the culture. They want to try to, impose Sharia law. And, there's so many more of them there. They're kind of outnumbering the people there, and they're starting to gain a lot of leverage over the people that are born there or whatever.
You either fight back or you die. And that's the truth.
Esther, those comments have been going around online. They sound quite incendiary. Give us some context. What was Elon Musk talking about?
Well, he was talking about sort of the rise or the overreach of the British state, particularly when it comes to free speech, which Britain has basically become a laughingstock for the rest of the world. And he's basically arguing that you need to fight back against these institutions that are trying to take away a fundamental right. It's a bit interesting to look at it, because we had Peter Kyle, who's the new business secretary, on Sky News here in the UK, talking about how incendiary and a bit odd his comments were. Now, Elon Musk of yesterday, when he was still back...
And not for nothing, I feel like X still censors to a degree too, certain things that you can't say there. But overall, for the most part, it's probably the most free speech social media that is this. Maybe Truth Social, Donald Trump's, one. You could probably say whatever you want on there too. But the rest of them really censor and block. And they really scrub it all the time for certain narratives that they don't want anybody to hear. And it's just like the reason why Israel bought TikTok, because they were really looking bad over this Palestine thing, because it's not like back in the olden days before social media and everybody had camera phones and stuff. The images are coming back of what's going on over in Gaza, and the people don't like it. And it really has been bad publicity for them. So they want to try to control the narrative, is why they bought TikTok. That's not me saying that. That's what their own people have said in leaked, documents and talks. And they've said it out their own mouths publicly that they want to control this narrative because they are taking a huge hit with the social media. So you're going to see a lot of censorship regarding a lot of, governments that just, Israel in particular, that they don't really want you to say.
Donald Trump and seemed to be a significant part of the US administration, which we can draw many parallels here with Reform UK, would have hit differently to now that he's estranged from the US government, which seems to many people to be the only bulwark to stand.
Well, he's not. With him and Donald Trump fell out, and I forget what they fell out for. I think it was because of Doge, because I think he felt like, okay, well, we presented all the corruption. What are you going to do? Are you going to start locking people up? Like, what's going to happen? And I think they fell out over that. But after Charlie Kirk's murder, they, got back together again. They mended their relationship
Against kind of the woke and promote freedom of speech. So those kind of two versions of Elon Musk are strange, because on the one hand, he doesn't have the same kind of sway, not being part of the US administration anymore under Donald Trump. On the other hand,
see, this is wrong what she's saying, because Elon Musk was never supposed to be a part of the government forever. He just really was a consultant, and that's all he ever was going to be. And it wasn't like he was going to stay there for the whole entire term. It was always known that he would leave and go back running his businesses and do what he do. He was just there to help them get elected and to help this Doge situation and expose this corruption. And, he had to go back and run his businesses, especially with the Tesla thing. They're blowing up his Tesla dealerships and all that. He had to try to save Tesla and do a lot of other things. So that's not true what she's saying.
We know that he's very passionate about British political issues because he had a British grandmother. But I think the sentiment that free speech in this country is really under threat, and that Britain has gone too far, and we've basically risked our standing as one of the first countries to actually guarantee free speech, and a free speech tradition is completely spot on.
All right, before we go, Prince Harry has told journalists his conscience is clear over the way he has publicly discussed his family's troubles. So I've got to ask you, Esther, might there be something defective with Prince Harry's conscience?
I think so. I think that there's a massive gap, or a gaping crevice where his conscience is supposed to be, which is the only thing that can explain why it's clear.
I mean, my thing as far as Harry goes, I always like Prince Harry because he seemed like the most normal one out of all of them there. And, Meghan Markle, I don't really like her that much. I don't know. I mean, I wish them the best and everything, but I feel like, that family is diabolical, and they've done a lot of wicked things throughout history. And the fact that he speaks openly about it, that's his life. That's his story. He should be allowed to say it how anybody else would. It doesn't show that he lacks class or anything like that, but that's just the age that we're in. And, he's trying to make it on his own and stuff from a family that's just so powerful, that's probably, getting in the way of anything that they would ever try to do. He's lucky they haven't killed him yet.
He seems to have decided to stay stum on his meeting with the king, which is indicating that he's understanding the royal family's need for privacy. But the fact that he doesn't think he's done anything wrong just shows that he's kind of too far gone for salvation, really. And it's no wonder Prince William wants nothing to do with him.
I feel like Prince William is a hater because Harry, even before he got with Meghan Markle and his reality TV and stuff like that, people just liked him more. He just had more swag, and people liked him more. So he's probably just a hater.
Indeed. I tell you what, I was surprised to hear those comments. After everything that's happened, my conscience is clear. You're kidding me. That's just a big red flag, I would have thought. We've got just a minute and a bit left, but last question I wanted to ask you was about guns for police officers in the UK. I think only 5% of UK police are armed with guns, but a new report from Scotland Yard recommends all police carry weapons. This is after...
Can you imagine that only 5% of their police carry guns? And they are outnumbered by, I think, Islamic terrorists, like almost equal amount of terrorist militia to their military. You'll hear about it. It's in another video that I have to show y'all. But that's crazy to me.
A number of police officers were attacked with knives. On the one hand, Esther, it makes sense to me that police would carry guns. They do here in Australia. But it begs the question, what's changed in the UK that they suddenly need to?
Well, the risk profile of police officers has just gone up. You know, you're seeing more and more incidents of police officers being attacked. And actually, funnily enough, the number of police carrying gun carrying police officers has gone down. Many of them feel like the police force isn't actually protecting them or defending their officers. We're seeing increasing numbers of officers being prosecuted for actually using their guns lawfully, in which case...
And see, this is why no one wants to be a police officer, because they are not allowed to protect the citizens. They are not allowed. And who wants to be a police officer and risk being murdered or locked up? That's crazy to me. You're there to protect the communities, protect the businesses and stuff like that, and protect property and whatever, but they're not allowed to. That's why that's why I say any country has this liberal and right-wing type of structure. So anywhere where leftists rule, it's going to be wild, chaos, crime, because like I said, they're globalists and they want to collapse every country on earth and then come in there and restructure everything the way that they want it and enslave all the people, put everybody on universal income and control all the resources and stuff. That's what they want to do. Go look about the globalist agenda and see what it is. And other people that are opposed to that are right-wing. That's basically what it breaks down to, and that's basically what the premise is of the issues.
The card-carrying officers, which is what we call officers here that carry guns, has just dropped. So actually trying to recruit officers to even be trained to carry firearms and to use them when they need is going down. So it's kind of a double whammy. Unfortunately, the police feel less and less safe, but also they don't want to bother carrying guns, basically, because they feel like they're not being defended by their employers.
They're not.
Yeah, and this is all about, policing by consent. Therefore, they shouldn't have to carry weapons. I just think the public would have a lot more confidence in police.
Hell yeah. How the hell you going to have confidence in police force with no guns? No weapons. Leftists run nations and cities and whatever. They are off the hook. And the people over in Europe, especially in the UK, are sick of it. And I was looking at another video the other day that all over Europe, they are done. They are done with all this illegals coming through and stuff. But that's what globalists run leftist nations want to do, is throw the country off balance, remove all of its culture, and just have it chaotic so that they can come in. Now, you wait, watch the tyranny that's going to come through once they destabilize everything. You watch. You watch. You think you Nazis, you wait how they round up people and get them out of there and put who they want there and stuff. You better watch those sci-fi movies in 1984 and stuff like that. I'm a sci-fi girl. I've read many a science fiction novel of the future, and it doesn't look good. And when I was a kid reading stuff like that, I never thought in a million years that people would ever fall for this. But those authors had discernment, because people are stupid. And as long as they're afraid, you can get them to do anything. COVID is the perfect example of that. If they give you a reason to fear illegals, you'll send them all home. Everybody. And these people, and this is what leftists try to do too. They try to make it seem like people on the right hate illegals, hate immigrants and stuff. That's not true. They just don't like the ones that are trying to force their culture and their ways of life and thinking on the people there. So you have all these Islamists come into Europe, into the UK in particular, and then tell them that they want to live by Sharia law and that they don't want to assimilate, basically. And they want to push their way of thinking on you, because they feel that that their religion is the religion. Just like every other religion thinks that they're the one, they're the chosen people, and they're willing to fight and kill for it. That's why I used to think I wanted to be a minister, so I really studied all the religions. I studied a lot, and I've read a lot, because you can tell that I'm very debative and I like to be able to know what I'm talking about and have a strong presence in an opinion. And after studying, I mean, I read so many scriptures. I even studied the Satanic Bible. I read all, because I feel like people say, I would never read the Satanic Bible, it's demonic. It's a book. It's a book. And how are you going to go after an enemy if you don't understand the teaching? You can't. You have to understand the enemy. And I just came away feeling like they're all similar as far as the way they control the minds of the people. And I just walked away saying, you know, what the heck with all this stuff? I know that I have the Spirit of God in me. For me, earth is a school, and everything that you go through, all the hardships, all the good things, everything you learn is a lesson and a way to elevate your spirit. And that everybody that's here is on an equal playing field, or you wouldn't be here. I say this all the time. If you were all that and your religion was all that and your God was all that, you wouldn't even be here. You'd be somewhere on a higher plane being the one. You wouldn't even be here with all these people that are supposed to be beneath you and your God. So I just feel like religion is the greatest separator of people. And I just, you know, I feel like of all the scriptures I've read, that I took away a lot of good things from some of them. I feel like every scripture that I read, no matter what one time I was riding the subway in the middle of the night and the guy gave me a Quran and I read it. I met a guy I met a Mooney or whatever down by Lincoln Center. He gave me some books. I read it. I met it like Harry Krishna or whatever, and he gave me a book. I read it. Like, you know, I just fellowship with a lot of people, Buddhists, whatever. And when somebody gives me a book, I always read it, because I always feel like Spirit has something for me to learn. It's giving me something. It's using somebody else to give me knowledge and to help uplift me. So I always read it. And I find that all of the scriptures are really beautifully written. And, you know, sometimes I take away, sometimes I discredit most of it, but it might just be one overall theme that resonates. So that's why I say it's all about discernment. Because if you couldn't read, write, hear, deaf, dumb, blind, you would still be able to navigate in the spirit, and you would still be able to be led in the spirit, because all of these other things around you is an illusion. Some of them can be tools to help you elevate, but most of it is in here. Okay, so I'm digressing, but let's continue this.
If they were armed to deal with criminals, on the other hand, when police are arresting people for tweets, you can understand why others might be a little reticent to have the...
I know that's right. He said, if you're going to get locked up for a tweet, maybe the police don't need to have guns over there. If you could get locked up for the smallest little infractions, you know, to give them guns might really make people end up dead for their free speech. So it's something to really think about.
Police armed. Esther Kraku, always a joy to speak with you. Thanks for joining me.
I mean, it's something to really think about. And y'all better stop acting like America is this place, home of the free and all this and that, because it's not. COVID should have showed y'all that. And you know, how easily y'all have digressed right back into the bullshit. I mean, it's a hot mess. It's a hot mess. It's a hot mess. So here are more videos of Brits complaining about what's going on over there, because they are not happy with this situation.
Do you think that Britain is essentially at war when it comes to freedom of speech and all the rest of it? Because that seems to be what some of the suggestions are. Lila Cunningham, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think actually freedom of speech is not free anymore. We don't have freedom of speech. In Britain today, the truth or stating the truth or sarcasm or a joke is prosecuted. And free speech means the right to offend and the right to be offended.
And this is what's wrong with today's society. is that these damn people are so freaking weak. They are weak. If you say anything to them, their feelings are hurt. You can't have an opinion against them because they think they'll say you hate them. You know, if you're having a debate with them and you are speaking too much knowledge and they're stuck and they don't know what to say, then they start getting hostile and they want to shoot you or do, you know, whatever. You know, it's just, it's really crazy. It's crazy.
And I'd like to see free speech. I didn't think I'd have to say this, but enshrined in law, because there's such a government overreach. And it's not about one man's tweet, Michelle. It's about, are we still a free country? Are we still free?
No.
Do you think we are?
No. Are we comfortable with armed police arresting people at airports while violent gangs and thugs roam our streets? While
there you go.
The rape
She hit the nail right on the head. If you really look, they will go after you for what you say. They will go after you and try to ruin your life like they did Donald Trump and so many other conservatives, because they want to control the narrative and they want to stay in power, but they won't go after criminals. They'll defend all the illegals that are here, even though they are criminals. You came into the country illegally. Illegally. That's the first crime. And then you have people out there committing more crimes against the American people. And they are protecting them. They're not even allowing ICE to go into jails and get these people. Why wouldn't you want to get the people that's already illegals in jail and get rid of them? I just don't understand the logic. I don't understand the logic of these people.
gang inquiry or the rape gang prosecutions haven't even begun. They're very comfortable prosecuting speech, but they're somehow not comfortable prosecuting crime.
Do you think that Britain is essentially...
There she goes. She said it. She said it. They're very good at prosecuting U.S. citizens. Look at COVID. They made every U.S. citizen, everybody in the whole damn free world, get these shots, these experimental shots, and then they opened the border and flooded America with a bunch of illegals that didn't need no shots. During COVID, you couldn't get $5 to help yourself with their vaccine mandates, and then they flooded the country with millions of illegals and gave them all kinds of benefits. Y'all have to be stupid, retarded, ignoramuses, dummies. I can't even tell you how many different things to show stupidity if you don't see this. They take your tax dollars and give it away to this country for this dumb thing. All of the Congress is getting rich and stuff like that. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm sure there are crooked Republicans, but Democrats, just historically speaking, have always been the worst. The absolute worst, especially to Black people. They just have been. They waste the most money. They're not good in business. None of these people come in rich. That's why I'm not mad at people like Donald Trump that already, and Elon Musk. These are people that are already rich, that already know how to make money and run businesses and make billions of dollars. They already do business with foreign governments and stuff like that. And I just feel that they're better people to run the country than politicians. I always felt that way. Get a good businessman to run this country. All these politicians, they get rich when they get in office off of tax dollars and being corrupt. Give me a break. I mean, listen, this wears me out. And I wish I didn't have to talk about this all the time, but it's important. I know people like mindless stuff on the internet, but I just am not that person. I'm not that person. This shit is important. I got a child that lives here. I have a child that lives here. And I want to make sure that he has somewhere where, you know, my little part to make sure that my child is not going to be living under Sharia law. Or that he grew up in a society where there's no free speech and the thought police and all that stuff. It's crazy.
With the rise of so-called non-crime hate incidents, arrests over grossly offensive memes, and the government's online safety bill threatening to clamp down on social media posts, Can you...
Y'all better listen, because I'm telling y'all, everything that, all the tyranny starts in Europe first. I'm telling you, just look at it. They were the first to roll out the COVID shots. They were the first to mandate vaccines. They also are the first with the digital currency and the chips in the hand and all. I'm telling you, any tyrannical policy, you best believe they tried that shit out in Europe first.
really speak your mind in 21st century Britain? To find out, I spoke to Harry Miller, a former police officer who has had several run-ins with the law over supposedly offensive online posts. Harry Miller, your name has become synonymous with people who have been dealt with the police because of their offensive tweeting. Can you explain to viewers exactly what's happened to you recently and also in the past in your relationship with the police?
They came to me because I tweeted about gender critical content. I'd famously retweeted what they described as a limerick. It wasn't a limerick, it was a piece of feminist doggerel. Nevertheless, somebody, don't know who they were, they decided that this had caused them great offence, and they contacted Humberside Police, and Humberside Police then contacted me. Essentially what they said was that even though I committed no crime, if I continued not committing crime, that could in some weird way escalate to crime. I don't understand the magic behind that. I never have done. Nevertheless, that's what they said.
Okay, so can you explain your High Court victory against the police? What happened there?
After the police got involved with me, I realised that this was a breach of my human rights, Article 10 specifically. So we took Humberside Police to the High Court. Weirdly, we won. When the police come against you because you have said something that is controversial.
Now, this is the crazy part to me. Who decides who is right and wrong in that situation? Because whoever's controlling the narrative, that they're the ones that can be offended and get you locked up. Oh, you make a comment, like he said, he made a comment that trans people didn't like, and that was it. You know what I'm saying? Because they probably, you know, it's a leftist country, so they're going to side with the people going against their leftist policies. So it's going to be very biased. Nobody should want this. And the people there don't. And that's why they're revolting. And like most of the country is for this. So the same way people are running out of liberalism and running from Democrats is the same way that people are running away from the left over there. And in a lot of other parts of Europe too, they're done. They're done. Because just like how they flooded illegals in our country, they've done it everywhere. They've done it everywhere because they know their tyrannical policies, the people that live there are not going for this new world order and this new and this one world government. So they have to get rid of those people and take on some people that will allow that. You know, Islamists don't care. They want to have Sharia law in their towns and communities where they live at. They do not want to, so they don't care what happens to the people over there, as long as they get to do what they want to do. So it's very deep, and people should really care and look at this.
Or because some trans person somewhere decided that they didn't like it, that when they take that trans person's moan seriously and they come and try and censor you, that is entirely illegal. And Mr. Justice Knowles equated it to the Gestapo and the Stasi.
It's like, oh, you hurt my feelings. Who cares? Why do people care what somebody thinks of them? They don't like you. They say they have an opinion about you. So what? So what? If you had a higher opinion of yourself, you would not give a damn what anybody thinks. You wouldn't care. If they're not saying that they're coming to kill me or hurt my child, I don't give a rat's ass what anybody thinks of me. I really don't. I'm always willing to listen, though. I'll listen to what you got to say, but I'm not going to subscribe to it. And when I give my opinion, you're probably not going to like it. But I'll listen. I ain't going to want to fight you and act all crazy like how most leftists do to me because I don't subscribe to them. It's just foolishness.
He said, we've never had a Gestapo or a Stasi in Britain. The actions of Humberside police came way too close for comfort, and we now have a precedent set in the High Court that when the police do that again, we can just tell them, no, 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 no.
What do you say to people who...
They are lucky that that man was able to fight that and win. That's big. That's big, because, now at any time they could just knock on the door and say, you got to go. You're getting locked up because you offended this group. You said something that this person doesn't like. And what are you going to say? Nothing. If leftists are in control, they control the narrative. And if you say something against their people and what they're doing, and you're like, those are the people that's going to be targeted with this. I mean, I feel like Democrats have always done that. They've always killed their political adversaries. They've always slandered the right. They've always, propagandized their people, because Obama was the one that made that legislation or whatever where they can propagandize the people. A lot of you don't even know that. The news media can propagandize you if they need to. And they do. So you should care. And don't just think because, you're a leftist and they're the ones that are, creating these horrific policies that you're going to be protected, because I guarantee you, once everything aligns in the way that they want it to, everybody's going to be a target and everybody's going to hate the New World Order and the Great Reset. But you allow them to create the policies that are going to work against all of us. Humanity has to learn that we are all going to be effed up under these people if humanity's not united. As long as everybody in humanity is united, you elevate above evil. That's the greatest lesson humanity has to learn to get peace, and we're not getting it. We're not getting it, and it's just so easy of a thing to do.
Don't particularly like you, don't like what you're saying.
I say tough. I really don't care whether you like me. There is only one question that needs to be asked. Are we on the right side of the law? It's absolutely immaterial whether you like us or whether you like our message. Providing we stay law-abiding, the police have no right whatsoever to interfere.
That is so true. That's the bottom line. If you're not breaking the law and you're not threatening anybody's life, you're not threatening to bomb somewhere, nothing like that, then who cares? And if you look at the left, they are very violent. And I have seen some of the most wicked posts on social media of the things that they say and do. I wish they would censor showing all these dead bodies in Gaza and all this. I don't want to see that. But hey, that's their right to post it. If I don't like it, I just block them. It's as simple as that. It's just so amazing how people just give up their rights. I want more rights, not less rights. That's why I can't help but say something every time, because I don't want to lose my rights. I don't want anybody forcing medical products on me. I don't want my job to tell me I got to take a medical product. I don't want my job to tell me I got to wear a scarlet letter that says I'm unvaccinated to come to work. I don't want to live like that. And I damn sure don't want to have a world where that's how my child's going to have to be. We have to nip this shit in the butt right now. And y'all are complacent and afraid. And I don't know what you're afraid of. I would be afraid of living like this. I'm afraid of the results of anything like this really getting footing. Because it's not going to be good for any of us.
Without freedom of expression.
You may be wondering what exactly is the legal justification for arresting people over their tweets. I went to Lincoln's Inn to speak to Dr. Anna Lutfi, an equality and human rights barrister, to understand the law around freedom of speech and how it's under threat.
Now listen to what she's going to say.
So what actually is a non-crime hate incident?
That's an excellent question, Stephen, and I think it's one that you should ask Priti Patel, our Home Secretary.
Now, how dumb does that sound? A non-crime hate crime? It doesn't make any sense. If it's not a crime, it's not a crime. So they're trying to make something that's not a crime into a crime.
because I don't think anyone knows by this stage. We have policies that have been drafted and exist in writing, and if you go to the College of Policing website and Google non-crime hate incidents in the search engine, you'll find what purports to be a definition, but I mean, good luck with that. You could be a PhD in linguistics and make no sense.
Non-crime hate incident. You can hate anybody you want. You don't have to like anybody. That is the craziest thing that I've ever heard. As long as you don't act on it, who cares? Who cares? You're going to force people to pretend like they like somebody so they don't get arrested for not liking them?
Sense of it's utterly incoherent. It's basically the idea that if somebody finds something offensive and they report it to the police as such, then that person hasn't committed a criminal offence, but they've committed a non-crime incident which has some consequences akin to having committed a criminal offence.
See, this all is like China with the social credit score. This is just the beginnings of that. Oh, you said the wrong thing on social media. Okay, you're gonna get 5 points for that. Oh, you have a non-crime incident, and we're gonna sanction you in this way. We're gonna give you a ticket, or we're gonna give you a fine, or whatever. That's just ways to control people. It's just like speeding. When they have those cameras, it really stops you because you're gonna get a ticket. So you're not gonna speed. But before those cameras, you might take the chance because the only way you were gonna get that ticket if the cops saw you and pulled you over. So this is the thought police that they talked about in 1984, George Orwell. It's here. Eventually, they'll be able to read your damn mind and tell you, that you're thinking the wrong thing. You're not allowed to hate or dislike the people that control the narrative. Get that through your thick head.
Basically, in Orwellian terms, a non-crime crime.
What I just say, George Orwell. That's what it is.
Will it be recorded against your name? That would be at the arbitrary discretion of the police officer involved. Will it show up on the DBS check? It might not. Is it something that's likely to affect you negatively in your career as you apply for jobs? Possibly. Yeah. These are all questions that go unanswered, and they very much rest on the individual case by case.
I know it will, because me, for example, a lot of people knew that, I'm a conservative person, and, I got penalized for that. I got penalized for not taking the shots. I got penalized for speaking out about it. I got penalized for defending myself against people that's acting crazy to me. So you're going to get penalized, but I don't care. I'm not afraid of anybody. I'm not afraid. They didn't ruin me. They tried to, but their safety's in number. There was a lot of like-minded people just like me. And I just bonded with those people. And it just strengthened my conservative values even more. That those people, that they treated me like that. So, that's why almost every scripture that I've read says, fear not. Because fear is the greatest way to get you to do something against your own soul. Fear is the greatest way to sell your soul. People will sell their soul because they're afraid of being broke. COVID proved that. So y'all better really look at this and pay attention. Pay attention. And really watch for this. And you talk about freedom and, diversity, equity, and inclusion. If it really was that diverse, then you would just let everybody be who the hell they want to be and do what the hell they want to do, as long as they're not infringing on you.
Which is not, as you may well appreciate, the basis for a sound democratic legal system. We are now living in a society where using social media puts you automatically at risk.
Yes,
human rights is a concept
you know how many people told me, especially during COVID, you need to stop talking. You need to stop saying stuff. You're never going to work again. Oh, your page is too political. And so what? This is what God has put on my heart to do, is to warn the people. And that is what I did. And that is what I'm going to continue to keep doing. I've been provided for all this time speaking out, and I haven't suffered a bit. Even though there was all kind of people trying to form every weapon against me, and it didn't work. Because I do not doubt the Spirit of God that's in me. I trust it, and I don't doubt it. I doubt other people that don't know their spirit. I doubt other people that don't know their powers. So y'all better wake up, and y'all better pay attention.
That should be applied equally to everyone. That's the whole idea of human rights. How do you as a human rights lawyer view these recent arrests and view these recent cases to do with causing gross offence, etc.?
What's important to understand about human rights is that the right evolved alongside the obligation. And one of the things that people forget when they talk about individual human rights is that they belong within a general constitution that brings about obligations such as obligations to enact scrutiny of law, obligation to make sure that law is proportionate, obligations to make sure that checks and balances are enacted. That's why democratic countries have constitutions. And human rights outside of that constitutional context mean nothing. Everyone can scream and shout that they have a human right, but without the constitutional checks and balances, we don't have human rights. And what really concerns me, for example, we've seen this spate of arrests where someone recently, and we're seeing more and more people arrested with reference to Section 127 of the Communications Act, which refers to electronic materials sent containing grossly offensive content. Now, there is a constitutional principle that no one seems to be observing here, which is the intention of Parliament. What did Parliament intend when it drafted the Communications Act 2003? It clearly had no intention of criminalising or quasi-criminalising anyone who shared a meme on Facebook.
That's so true, because in 2003, social media wasn't what it is. So it's like they try to use these old policies and gaslight everybody and stuff like that. And people are ignorant and they don't care. You know, they're on their phones, they're preoccupied with the world and all that, and they're not really looking at all these tyrannical policies that they're creating that are really gonna be bad for everybody. Just because you're a liberal and a leftist doesn't mean that one day you're not going to be upset with the way things are going to go. And then the very policies will be used against you. And Donald Trump is a prime example of that. They weaponized the justice system against him, and a lot of conservatives. They went after so many conservative people and tried to bankrupt them. And some they were successful and some they weren't. You know, some got a lot of support like Alex Jones. You know, I still don't know why they don't like Alex Jones, because I mean, he's a figure and he's very controversial. But I've been knowing of Alex Jones since the 90s. And when I first was hearing about him, I thought he was crazy too. Until I started seeing all of that stuff that he was saying come to fruition decades later. I read a book called New World Order in the 90s. I thought it was all bullshit. I never thought that people would ever in a million years submit themselves to an experimental medical product. That's why I didn't take the vaccine, is because I read that book and I heard about that back in the days, and I just never thought it would ever happen. And then I saw that movie Equilibrium with Kristen Bale, and it was the same thing. Those people were taking medical products and they were telling on each other for not taking it and all this and that. I never thought that any of those things would ever happen in real life, and they did. So that's a lot of the reason why I didn't take it, because a lot of people like Alex Jones and different people, what was the other guy's name? Greg Cooper, I think his name was. They killed him. The guy that wrote Behold the Pale Horse. So these people have always been saying that globalists had this plan of doing exactly what they did. So y'all better wake up, because I'm telling you, it's not going to end well for humanity if you allow these people to get through with what they want to get through. New World Order, Great Reset, all of that. Y'all better look it up. You better look up the globalist agenda and what it is. And that way you can pay attention and know what's coming and see the signs and the red flags. like this lady.
Because when it was drafted, the concept of Facebook memes was not a structuring principle of the legislature. So we're in this situation now where 21st century culture wars are being invoked in the interpretation of parliamentary statute. And that gives rise to a total, again, Wild West scenario where human rights are what anybody says.
Yep.
And it's just a question of whether an arbitrary decision maker will act in your favour or not.
Yep.
The government's long-awaited online safety bill has also come under scrutiny from free speech campaigners. This new law, if passed, could have serious consequences for social media companies when it comes to regulating their users' content. I spoke to Victoria Hewson of the Institute for Economic Affairs to explain the consequences of the bill.
The online safety bill will affect freedom of speech in a couple of different ways. First of all, it creates some new criminal offences, some new speech offences to do with harmful communications. Now, on the positive side, it will repeal the existing communications offences under the Communications Act 2003 and the Malicious Communications Act. They will both be repealed, which is certainly very welcome because they're both two very pernicious pieces of legislation. Unfortunately, the new offences that have been constructed to replace them could actually end up being even worse because they are based upon the concept of causing harm to a likely audience. And harm in the harmful communications offence is defined as severe distress. And so anyone who makes a communication which could include...
Oh, you don't like me. You said something bad about me. I'm in severe distress. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. Oh, I'm afraid to go outside. I mean, anybody can say that. But I feel like leftists are the most guilty of those behaviors. The nasty things they say and saying that they, wish death and, to hurt people on social media and some of the nasty violent memes they post and stuff like that. So, I mean, are they going to go? Because they're on the side of the people that control the narrative.
A WhatsApp message, or it could include a posting on Facebook or Twitter or any manner of these kinds of fora. If they do it intentionally, knowing that there might be someone who might possibly receive it, who would be distressed by it, that will be a criminal offence.
So it's not just the new offences that have been created, but there's also been controversy over this idea of saying something that's legal but harmful. Can you delve into that issue?
For the biggest online platforms, they will also have to put new systems in place to deal with what's this new thing that's been created, priority content that's harmful.
So basically what they're going to do is force the platforms to censor the people on there so that they don't get these fines. And it's just too much.
To adults, I think is the technical term for it. And they won't strictly have to take it down. This is how the Secretary of State has been defending this measure, saying, no, we're not forcing you to censor this kind of legal but harmful content. We just want you to be clear and transparent about what you're going to do with it on your service. And they will make a list. This Secretary of State is going to make a list of what comprises this new category of legal but harmful. And it's going to be things like health misinformation.
Legal but harmful. Listen to this. Legal but harmful. It's legal, but because somebody's offended from it and they said it's harmful to them, we're going to come and lock you up.
A little bit worrying, to be honest, because we've seen a lot of things that were classed as health misinformation that actually turned out to be true. So already we've got some alarm bells.
That's
here.
right, because they censored all of the social medias. People were posting vaccine injuries and they were blocking them and taking their page down and censoring them and all this and that. And it turned out that it was all true. So how do you manage this? How?
But Nadine Dorries and others will say, no, but we're not forcing people to take this down. We just want the platforms to be clear and honest about what they're doing with it. But can you seriously imagine any platform putting in its terms and conditions, yes, we carry legal but harmful content, and that's it. We're not going to do anything about it. It's up to you.
When looking in a broader sense, not just the online harms bill, but all the other legislation that's used to go after people for online content, do you think that we have free speech in the UK?
It's a great question, because I suppose the answer is we have free speech as long as we don't.
Notice every expert they ask that question, they say it's a good question because it's like the answer is no, you don't.
Say anything that's going to be too controversial or offensive. And that's technically not how the law should work. There's a long-standing case law from the European Court of Human Rights that says even, or perhaps especially, speech that is offensive or distasteful is protected speech. But in practice, we have so many laws on our books to do with hate crimes, inciting racial hatred and religious hatred, all of these kinds of speech.
Me personally, I don't think that you can incite anyone to hate somebody. That's something that you choose to do. I can say whatever I want to say. You don't have to do it. You don't have to listen. I mean, where does it come in that you hold people accountable for their own damn mind? Today, people are crazy. They are weak-minded, and it's like you can't say anything to people that they're so emotional and so, butthurt. Anything you say to them, they need to look at their self and figure out why they're so offended by everything. Who cares what somebody thinks about you? Who cares? I mean, look at leftists though. They don't like you when they come out and come after you. They come and kill you. They threaten you. They threaten you. Just like that politician that threatened that guy's family to kill his kids and all of that. And he's still in the race. They subscribe to that. They think that's fine to say you're going to kill your opponent's whole family and his kids and still support them. So this is crazy to me.
Offenses, and actually in quite a sort of nannying moralistic way as well, where people are prosecuted for making mean jokes about Captain Tom, for example, or even, I'm going to go out there and say,
I told you I had posted a video about Kamala Harris's past and some of the messed up policies she had even against Black people, and they banned me, blocked the video and banned me. So
using people for making extremely repulsive and distasteful jokes about something like the Grenfell fire disaster, I think we can all agree that that is morally repugnant. But should it be illegal? Should people get a criminal record for making distasteful jokes?
As more people are questioned by the police over their online comments, pressure is only rising not to share controversial opinions. After 12 years of Conservative rule, questions remain as to whether this government is committed to protecting freedom of speech.
I doubt it. I freaking doubt it. I doubt it, because they have to control the narratives, because with social media, they can't. And they see that. So that's the reason why they're doing all this, to try to be able to control the narratives, because they can't. Look at what J.D. Vance had to say.
I said what I said, which is that we do have, of course, a special relationship with our friends in the UK and also with some of our.
Because he said, I said.
It was an extraordinary exchange between Donald Trump.
Sorry, y'all.
I said what I said, which is that we do have, of course, a special relationship with our friends in the UK and also with some of our European allies. But we also know that there have been infringements on free speech that actually affect not just the British. Of course, what the British do in their own country is up to them, but also affect American technology companies and by extension, American citizens. So that is something that we'll talk about today at lunch.
We've had free speech for a very, very long time in the United Kingdom, and it will last for a very, very long time.
They kept ripping him over and over about that, about the free speech thing. And Donald Trump even says something about that he, I don't know, was sanctioning them in some kind of way, or, if they don't get it together with the free speech thing over there, because he feels that they're being tyrannical to the people there. So that is an issue. That is an issue. The left probably never talks about it because they're the ones censoring. Here's another one where they asked American people, this British, I think it was a British reporter that asked these people how they felt about it.
Flavor that people are used to there.
Wow. Well, we have 30 people a day arrested for social media posts.
What are they posting?
Well, one lady was banged up for 2.5 years for saying, burn down the migrant hotels for all I care. She got 2.5 years in prison.
Oh.
Can you imagine? She got 2 years for saying burn down the migrant hotels. That's crazy because over here, they say kill conservatives. I even had somebody tell me they hope I'm next after Charlie Kirk. Shit. So, you know, over there, that would be a crime. That lady got locked up for 2 years for saying that. So what do y'all think about this?
Think that sounds fair?
Arrested might be a bit too much.
Oh, I did hear about this, the freedom of speech thing.
Yeah.
I just have an American point of view. I mean, we're the luckiest country. We have free speech, so I think it's ridiculous.
You guys Trump fans? No? Biden? You Democrats?
I'm not a big fan of him either.
Any of them? Anarchy?
Not lately.
Not, you know,
Anarchy.
it's kind of like, you know, still waiting for that great leader.
Yeah. Yeah. No, us too. Us too.
Yeah.
Where are you guys from?
All over.
All over? Midwest? Oh, Texas. Yes. Yeehaw. You hate him. You hate Keir Starmer. Why? What have you heard about him?
He's just a lefty.
Yeah. We've got no borders as well.
That's why.
I worry when I travel to the UK that I would have to adjust my American style of being able to give you my opinion like we are here today.
Haven't you guys went through like 10 prime ministers in the past, like,
Yeah. Well, maybe not 10. There was 3 or 4.
is the Rishi Sunak guy still your prime minister?
Rishi, he's gone.
Oh.
Our prime minister says, of course we've had free speech here for many, many decades. But is that free speech if you're coming over and being conscious of what you're saying? Is that free speech?
In my opinion, no. That's not free speech.
There's like a comedian that's currently in jail because of some tweet or something on social media.
Oh, sorry, y'all. Anyway, you see where that's going. I didn't mean to click that off, but so basically, is what he said. He said, "Can you imagine the comedians? That's going to be the end of comedy, like I said earlier, because you can't even make fun of a group anymore without it being a crime. So this world is going to be horrible. Y'all better pay attention." So this last video I want to show you is going to talk about Tommy Robinson and the guy that's in, you know, the front of this movement over in the UK, and it's huge. It's the largest movement that they've ever seen over there. They had a protest and 150,000 people showed up to it. The people there are not having it. They are not having it. They're not going for it at all. They're over it. And so are most other parts of Italy. I mean, most other parts of Europe and Italy and where else over there? Sweden, all over, all those places where they were being all woke and, you know, being all, you know, let everybody come in here, you know, undocumented and we love everybody and all this and that. They're throwing everybody out. They're throwing everybody out. And some of them have some really terrible policies for illegals over there. A matter of fact, I think I'm going to show that video soon because that was a trip too of how these European nations are correcting this illegal immigration thing. And a lot of them are just putting everybody out. You think what's happening in the United States is something, you see what's happening over Europe. That's what I'm saying. If you watch what's going on over Europe, just know it's a matter of time before it's going to be over here.
The British public are fed up. We're fed up with the erosion of our culture, the attack on identity, and open border mass Islamic immigration.
So that's the guy, Tony Robinson, that I was telling you about from before, the journalist that he had accused. It was a video of a Syrian high school student that was being beaten by some classmates. And he was promoting that. And of course, they all got behind the Syrian kid and everything and said that, you know, it was bad and the kids were bad. But his narrative was that that kid wasn't no angel, and the kid was causing a lot of problems, and that was in retaliation to something that he had did to a girl or whatever the case may be, fighting with some girls. So I don't know the story, and I don't know what was what, but he did make a documentary about it called what was it called? Silenced, by Tony Robinson. So you could watch it. I haven't even watched it, but I just know a little bit about it because I know he's been on X and InfoWars and different stuff like that, talking about it, because he got locked up around this because he was a journalist presenting a different narrative than they wanted him to. And like I said, Owen Schroyer of InfoWars got locked up because they told him to stop talking about something and he wouldn't, and they locked him up. So you guys better pay attention, because, you know, it's already happening in America to journalists. And I feel like, you know, whatever happened to freedom of the press, you know, just like the lady was saying with COVID, they lied. They literally lied. It wasn't even misinformation. They straight up lied about the efficacy of the vaccines and if they were safe or not. They hid the safety data, and they did a lot. And then they censored and blocked everybody from telling the truth. So we should really fight to not have these policies inflicted on us.
We're not hiding from it. Nigel may wish to hide from it. Nigel may be scared of Islam. The British public on Saturday showed them that.
One thing I could say, one person's voice and one person's fearlessness started a movement like this. 100 and some odd thousand people came to this protest, and they have never seen such a revolt like this. I remember when the people in France, when they tried to make it where you had to have a vaccine passport to come into the supermarkets, and the French people went off. And I remember there was talk of making everyone have a vaccine to go in anywhere, any store whatsoever. You had to have the vaccine. And the French people went off so bad. They didn't think that, that was going to happen, to where they just did it, that idea of trying to force people to have vaccines to get food. And you can thank the French people for that, because they surely were about to do it. So protests fearlessly. I mean, the French people went off, though. One thing I could say over COVID, the French people was the most gangster with it, to me, I thought.
I admire Modi for putting Indians first. Yeah, putting Indian people first. Pakistan is a terrorist state. Nothing good has ever come from Pakistan.
Now, this is this man's opinion. I don't know nothing about Pakistan. I don't know anybody from Pakistan. That is his opinion. I don't know. But I do agree that every nation should put their people first. Then worry about the other people that's coming from elsewhere. You know what I mean? Then everybody's good. To me, it never makes sense to flee a country that you don't like and then come to another one and then try to make their country like yours. Why didn't you just stay where you were? You can practice Sharia law all you want in the country that you left. It just makes no sense to me. I don't get it.
Tommy Robinson, thank you for joining in on CNN News 18. The last time we spoke was prior to your prison sentence. You are now a national figure, someone who has shaken up.
And you heard what she said. He's a national figure since they did what they did to him. It's just like Charlie Kirk. They killed Charlie Kirk, but in killing him, the movement has quadrupled, and more young people than ever have joined the movement. So they didn't silence them. They just made more attention to it and just made a bigger movement, just like this guy.
The establishment, even more so after Unite the Kingdom rally. How much has changed for you and England in the last 1 year?
Lots has changed. My imprisonment and my persecution was an attempt to break our movement. We've come back out. I just spent 7 months on solitary.
And what's so funny is that they thought that they were going to silence this movement by locking the leader up, but it just made it quadruple. Like, I mean, it's just so much bigger than before they started messing with them. Because people relate, just like Donald Trump. A lot of people were like, they related, especially Black people, because we know how a weaponized justice system works and what it looks like. So if black people knew exactly what was going on. They knew.
Confinement for making a film. I'm a journalist. It's my job to make films. Free speech has been under attack for a long time. I felt like I've been punched every day during those 7 months. And on Saturday, we, the British public, punched back. That is the largest demonstration Britain has ever seen in our country.
150,000.
It should shake the establishment. It should act as an earthquake for the establishment. The British public are fed up. We're fed up with the erosion of our culture, the attack on identity, and open border mass Islamic immigration. Islam is destroying Great Britain, and the people on Saturday gave their voice.
And people all over, migrants of all races come into these countries everywhere. But it's the Islamists that, for whatever reason, they fear. So I don't know really what's going on in these nations or whatever. I just know in Texas, they're trying to, have Sharia law there in their communities and stuff like that. And they're even going to the stores in the town telling them, that it's Sharia law and you can't sell this and you can't sell that. So, that's why they want to ban Sharia law here, because I guess they're starting to get leverage with it. So I don't really know. I have to do a little bit more research on this whole situation, on why these nations are getting the Islamists out. Like, what is going on,
To the world to say enough is enough. We will remain silent no longer.
You referred to your Unite the Kingdom rally as a show of patriotic unity, something like nothing seen before, and a cultural revolution. Going by the numbers, is this the beginning of a cultural revolution in Great Britain?
You're witnessing right now a cultural revolution. We have seen a globalist revolution for the last 20 to 30 years across all nations. Open border mass immigration, attack on our religious identity.
What did I just tell you? Globalists want to control the world, every nation, and all the resources. This is why they are always in every nation fighting war and causing conflicts to purge people out of their land, get people off the land, or steal their resources and cause conflicts so they can steal their resources and stuff like they do in Africa and everywhere on earth. I think Thailand is one of the only places where they never were able to do that. That's why I think I want to go there. But globalists are leftists, and that's their agenda. And a lot of people that are leftists, they don't really realize that they're followers and they're supporting a globalist agenda. So they're really working against their own interests. I don't want a one world government, and I feel that most people don't really want a one world government. And who's going to be the rulers of the one world government but these globalist organizations like the United Nations and the World Health Organization and what's the other one? The Economic Forum, World Economic Forum. Those are all globalist organizations. Those are not government organizations at all. Those are the globalist leaders, and that is who's going to rule the world. Okay, that's the one world government that they'll have. That's the shadow government that everybody was talking about for decades that you call conspiracy theorists, but now they're out in the open.
That's what we've witnessed the globalists doing for 20 to 30 years. You are now seeing the counter revolution, and this was the spark of it. We hope this inspires all Western nations that now is the time to stand up and defend our future, defend our country, defend our culture, and defend our daughters. Because unfortunately, our women are no longer safe in the UK. And it's not at the hands. The important thing that we wanted to do as Unite the Kingdom movement was to show that many communities have come to this country. Many have come from India, Sikhs, Hindus. Many have come from other nations, and they've integrated and assimilated. But that's far different to what we're seeing with Islamic immigration. So
this is what all of these European nations are saying, and this is what they're saying in Texas and in parts of the United States, that the Islamists don't assimilate. Like I showed y'all last week of how they blast in a call to prayer at 5 a.m. for people, and the people in the neighborhood don't like it, wakes them up. And, so it's like, I don't know what to think of it. I have family members that are Muslim, I don't subscribe to it. They know I don't. But I respect them for what they believe. They ain't no hardcore Islamists like, some of the ones like this. But you know, I respect them for what they believe and stuff like that. And, you know, we just focus more on what we do agree on.
We wish to unify Britain and everyone that's proud to be British. We have a problem. It needs to be spoken about. It needs to be stopped. The aggression and the hostility from the Islamic community, it's a massive issue to Great Britain. And we.
So he was saying that boy, that high school boy, was always being aggressive, and it was admitted that he did have issues and stuff like that. And he would say mean things to the white kids. So, you know, I don't know that story. Like I said, I really don't know the story, and I haven't really done a lot of research on that. But he was trying to say that that boy was causing a problem, and he had gotten to some fights with some girls or something like that. And that fight where they saw him getting beat up, the one that was recorded, was the retaliation for the other stuff that the boy had done. I don't know how true that is, but, you know, they tried to make it seem like it was racial and all that stuff. And this guy was trying to say that it wasn't like that. He's a journalist. He was saying it wasn't like that. Other people were saying it wasn't like that. So it's like, who knows? I don't know what the truth is in that story. But he lost in court for libel for that boy. And, you know, he came out and was still saying the same thing. Like he was 10 toes down. That's what happened. And from his research and his investigation, that's what happened. He just would refuse to let it go, you know, and they try to lock him up again. So this guy, he got a lot of respect because he's not being afraid and he's standing 10 toes down in what he believes in. So that makes you look at the person and say, well, maybe there's some truth somewhere, because why would he take himself through all of this? You know, I don't know. Like I said, I don't really know the story. I don't know.
We see our core identity and the safety of our nation in danger.
How do you respond to all of those who say that it is the far-right movement which is dividing Britain right now?
Britain is divided. It's already divided. And it's not divided through racial lines. It's not divided between the Sikhs, the Hindus, the Jews. It's not divided by any of them. It's divided by Islam and the rest of the UK.
And that's so true, because, you know, the left always tries to make everything seem like it's about race, okay? And I know what he's saying, because the policies that they create is what divides the people. So I look at COVID, you know, I'm a Black woman in America, whatever, and, you know, that had nothing to do with the division. The division was vaccinated versus unvaccinated because of their policies that they created. So now over there and in Texas and some other places, they've divided the people between Islamists and, you know, nationalists, because of the policies that they have put on the people. Is called the division. But that's what they always do. That's what globalists, that's what they do. That's what they have to do. They have to have everybody divided to conquer the nation, because you cannot conquer a nation that's strong and on one accord against globalism. So they have to do that. And a lot of the people that are followers on the left, they don't really understand the agenda that globalists are, you know, working towards.
That's it. We have Islamic ghettos that have not integrated, not assimilated. Out of those Islamic ghettos, we have 40,000 Muslims on a terror watch list. 40,000.
That's crazy.
We only have 70,000 armed forces.
Did you hear what he said? He said they have 40,000 Islamists on the terrorist watch list, but only 75,000 military. So let that sink in. If they decided to have civil war there with the Islamists, they're gonna take over that whole country and probably win. You know, and that's just the 45,000 that they know are there. They might have 100,000. You know, they might have more than the military there. So it would be a very even battlefield if they ever had to go to war for the land over there. So they have good reason to be worried.
During 50 years of Islamic immigration into the UK, in 50 years, we had 3 years where ISIS were dominant in Syria. In that 3 years of ISIS reign in Syria, 4 times as many British Muslims joined ISIS than have ever joined the British military. So in a 3-year period, 4 times more joined ISIS than in a 50-year period of joining the British military. We have a massive problem.
So that's just showing you, like he's saying, the people that are coming are not assimilating. They're building armies that are getting close to surpassing the British armies. So there is cause for concern for them over there.
and simply 1.2 million British Muslims want Sharia law in our country. That is 1.2 million Muslims that need to leave. There's no playing games anymore. We've had enough.
I mean, I kind of agree. If you're going to leave your country, why do you want to come here and change our laws in our country to make it Sharia law when you could just go back to your country and have Sharia law? Like, I don't understand why they leave their country to come to another one. And I don't know, maybe because they just maybe they want the land. I don't really know. I mean, I would love to know what people think of it. I don't know why they're doing it.
We've tolerated it for too long. We have tolerated hate against us. 1.2 million Muslims who wish to overthrow democracy and replace it with Islamic supremacy. The problem is, as there's rising tensions against migration because of the problems we're seeing, which is what we've seek to do as a movement, is let people know that many migrants come to this country, embrace it and love it. There's one section that's come here and caused murders and declared war with it. And I'll be
that
honest,
is true though, because a lot of them they hate American. So that's why I don't know why they pick here to come. I really don't understand this this situation here, and I will do more research on it, but I don't know why they come, because they do seem to not like America and their policies with the Middle East and stuff like that. So they do have a lot of enemies in the Middle East, a lot of people that don't like America and American policies towards them. So I don't understand why they will come here. But if you're going to come here and you could conquer it, then that makes sense.
you see, if we didn't have Islamic immigration, there would not even be a debate on immigration in the UK. No one would be complaining. There would have been no mass rape gangs in Rotherham, Telford, and 85 other cities with Islamic communities. We wouldn't even be having a discussion on immigration because no one would have any problems with the other communities that have come here.
Okay, so you say that you've had enough.
So to me, it seems like he's just saying he doesn't have any problem with any immigrants. It's just the Islamists. They're the only ones that they have an issue with. That's interesting. I wonder what y'all think about that. You know, I wish I knew some people that live there to say, you know, what's going on. But clearly, there's a lot of people there that are for the immigration. But it seems like more people are against it in Europe. I got to show you all this other video of the policies that some of these countries in Europe have to get, you know, the Islamists out and the immigrants and stuff that flooded in during COVID and all that stuff out.
People have had enough, but your Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, has said that he will not allow the UK flag to become a symbol of violence. Are you turning the flag into a symbol of violence? What are your thoughts?
No, not at all. This is our 5th rally and they've all been peaceful. We had millions in London on Saturday. There are 8 arrests from our side. 8. Now, there were 18 arrests from the far left government-supported demonstration that had 5,000.
Which that's always the case. Leftists are just always, their protests always get violent. They always turn violent.
People. Now, at that demonstration, they were chanting, "Charlie's in a box, Charlie's in a box." Lead Labour politicians were speaking at that event, yet the media totally ignore this. So twice as many arrests out of 5,000 compared to our over 1 million supporters. Millions of supporters. So we're not a violent group. As you can see from the demonstration, we're a group that come and embraced and celebrated our identity with mass diversity from all different communities. The unity is with us, not with them. The nation is divided because of Keir Starmer.
And you know what? That is true, because the leftist media always tries to make it seem like, you know, people on the right are all white, prejudiced, racist, and it's just not the case. I say this all the time, that I have conservative friends of every walk of life, black, white, you know, Indian, straight, gay, trans. I mean, every walk of life, literally, and people from all over the world, different nationalities and stuff like that are conservatives. It's just a lie and a falsehood that conservative right people are just white and they hate everybody that's not white. That's just a lie that the left tells you, but it's just not true. It's not true at all. My core group of friends that I talk to almost daily is a Puerto Rican, a white Jewish person. I mean, I'm telling you, every walk of life. Every walk of life. Don't subscribe to this foolishness. Like I keep telling y'all, it just goes to values. And you can't allow yourself to get gaslit. That's why I've been teaching my son from a young age to recognize this foolishness so you won't be indoctrinated. Since he was a little kid that just started to be able to understand anything, I was making him aware of certain, ideologies and stuff to watch out for.
Not because of us. We seek to unite it, unfortunately, against him and his tyranny, against his politicization and weaponization of our judiciary, our media, against all the attacks against our country.
That's true. The same thing's
Keir
happening right
voted
here.
in on 9 million votes. We're a population of over 70 million people. 9 million is all he got. 20 million British people didn't seek to vote. Our cultural movement comes under the banner Unite the Kingdom. Our cultural movement's plans is to captivate that 20 million, to electrify and energize them, to give them a sense of identity and purpose, because for too long they've been told that their voice does not matter. On Saturday, we let them know, and we let the establishment know their voice does matter. And if we can bring millions to on the streets of our capital city, you wait to see what we're going to do by the next election. And not just that, we're already planning our next Unite the Kingdom event. It's already in process and to be planned. We want world leaders to attend, representatives who understand the problems we face.
When is that going to be?
We haven't given a date yet because we want to secure the date and the location before we do.
So there you have it, folks. What's his name again? Tommy Robinson. But these movements are going on all over the world. This is why I keep telling y'all, if you just watch leftist mainstream media, you are getting hoodwinked, gaslit, and propagandized every day. I like to watch news from other parts of the world because they're going to tell you what's going on here sometimes that we don't know because we're getting propagandized. Obama made it illegal for them to do that to us. So be mindful of this and pray for discernment. I hope New York does the right thing and not elect that guy, because I feel like y'all going to be the next group of people to be like these people and unite the kingdom. I don't understand why you would pick somebody like that or pick corrupt Cuomo over Curtis Lewa. I don't care what you think about right wing and all that stuff. That's a person that loves New York. That's a person that has proved time and time again that he cares about the safety of New Yorkers. Robert Lee says, yes, watch the mayoral election in New York City. This can turn out very, very bad, but I blame the idiots that are going to vote for this Marxist Islamic radical that hates America. Oh, well, rest in peace, New York City. I couldn't have said it better myself, Robert. It's so true. The same thing that is going on in all these European countries, y'all better research it. Research European countries getting rid of illegals or something like that. Just Google that or go on YouTube and watch the videos of these policies that they have to get their culture back. So the United States, what the United States is doing is nothing compared to what they're doing over in Europe. And the movement over here, where a lot of people fled the left, is nothing compared to the movements in Europe. So it's, like he said, it's a revolution. It's a cultural revolution where people do not want to submit to globalism, and, Islamists. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't pick somebody that loves New York. I don't give a damn if he is inexperienced, even though I don't think he is, because that's what a cabinet is for, to help you execute keeping New York safe and pulling it together. And he would definitely have the support of Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is from New York and he always said that he wanted to try to help New York. and get New York back great again. So I definitely feel New York is coming soon where, you know, I don't know how he going. He said he feels bad for New York if they pick Mamdani, whatever his name is, because they're going to be stuck. But if you pick Curtis Lewa, I bet you're going to have all the support of him to get everything New York needs to pull itself out that bullshit and get the city safe and get it cleaned up. And I bet you he'll make a solution to all them empty skyscrapers y'all got there, because that's all he do is develop shit. You know, New York City is a ghost town. All them skyscrapers are empty. You know, they need him to restore New York, in my opinion. I feel like he's probably the only person in America that really knows to do with that real estate in New York to make it where it can be profitable and put the right things there that need to be there, and knows how to do real estate and knows building, commercial building and all that stuff, and knows New York so well of how to, you know, restructure the city where it's effective and can make money and stuff. I just feel like if y'all elect Mamdani, y'all screwed. If y'all elect Cuomo, y'all screwed. I really feel that y'all should upset any elect Sliwa. I just feel like, I'm just telling y'all, that's just my opinion. And he'll have the full support of the government. And I feel, I've been reading Donald Trump's book, Art of the Deal. I'm telling you, there's nobody in America or abroad in my opinion, that could rebuild New York. I just know he can do it. So y'all think about that. Look. I'm gonna read what Robert said one more time because it was so good. He said, this can turn out very bad, but I blame the idiots that are going to vote for the Marxist Islamic radical that hates America. Oh, well, rest in peace, New York. So I hope New Yorkers don't do that. I love New York. New York is my home. I lived in New York longer than my home state of Philadelphia. And I love New York. I lived in New York for like 30 years. That was my home. I settled there. I love it there. And I'm still in New York every day. But I had to go because the woke liberal policies just was too much for me. And I had to run for my life, Jesus. It's too much. So this was a long one, but this was a good one because I know a lot of people don't know a lot of this stuff here. And, you know, again, New York, please reconsider. Instead of listening to the leftist media gaslight you into voting for this dude that is not even really qualified to run the city, pick two people that you know love New York, that are from there, that care about the people. Just give it a try. It's only for a few years. And I guarantee you it will not be a mistake. Because New York is about to be like the Purge. It's about to be a ghost city or a prison state like Escape from New York. Y'all better learn it. All right. I love you. This means I love you in sign language, and I do if you sat with me through this. I love you. Please support this channel, share the video, subscribe to the channel. I really would love it if you subscribe, leave comments, share the videos. Because the main reason why I'm on here, I don't expect to make $1 from content creating, but the reason why I'm on here is because I really just have in my heart to get a message out. I want to see everybody elevate their frequency and rise and be successful and be healthy mentally and spiritually. And get back all the devil stole. That's what I really would love to see. But, you know, like Malcolm X said, you can't do nothing until you wake them up first. So share my videos, please. I appreciate it. All right. I am Shelly B. I thank you for watching. Have a lovely evening, and I shall see you on the next one. Have a good night.